The SAS has given secret training to the Cambodian guerrillas for 5 years, and as we can now reveal, British support for Pol Pot has never been more crucial.
We began around 1985 with at first one training team going out from the SAS regiment in Hereford to the Thai-Cambodian border to begin what became a series of training courses, seminars, for both the Sihanoukists and the Khmer Rouge.
So the British knew they were teaching the Khmer Rouge?
Yes, quite definitely so.
These were active service SAS personnel?
Up until October 1989, when the whole question of the SAS role in training the Khmer Rouge became public, and the stink that resulted in the Commons. Yes, these were serving SAS troops.
What is the nature of British assistance to the Khmer Rouge now?
Well, my understanding is that following the row that erupted last autumn as a result of partly your programme and partly because my own newspaper, the government put the word out that support from that date onwards was to be very much more covert in its nature. So it has passed very clearly to being an MI6 operation. The result of that has been that there are a number of former SAS people who are now out of the service and who are private individuals, but that are working to some form of contract to provide training and mines technology to the Khmer Rouge.
What exactly do you mean by mines technology?
One can lay anti-personnel and off-route mines which can be detonated automatically by the sound of people moving along the track. There are an increasing number of anti-personnel mines which fire thousands of pellets into the air, and once they embed themselves in people's bodies are incredibly difficult to find for doctors working with fairly rudimentary field equipment.
And so these are the kinds of mines that are being supplied by the British?
My understanding is that the British are still involved in supplying those sorts of mines, yes.
Are they British-made mines?
Mines themselves need not necessarily be British, because there are a series of licensing agreements that obviously exist worldwide, bringing with it the element of deniability.
Yes.
We're not laying mines with made in UK on them.
Like the US State Department, the Foreign Office in London has shown a marked reluctance to talk about Cambodia. For more than 2 months, we sought answers to questions raised in this investigation, but without success. We asked for an interview with Foreign Secretary Douglas Hurd, but this has been repeatedly refused.
Last year, Bill Yates asked people watching your programme to pick up their pens and write expressing their concern to ministers and members of Parliament of all persuasions. All those people not only have a duty, but in my view have a right to write again to those with political responsibilities, saying, look, we gave our money, we provided our support. The solutions can only be found by governments providing aid on a scale that's necessary, and by governments taking the political action that's necessary, stopping the arms supplies, stopping the fighting. People seeing the Pol Pot nightmare for what it was cannot imagine how that could be allowed to recur. And what we see now on the ground, those of us who are working with the people in humanitarian programs, is Pol Pot gaining ground again, poised, ready to take over the reins of power once more. Now, if that were to happen, how could any of us live with ourselves into the future?
In the West, we are told that the Cold War is over, but this is not so. The Cold War was never just about attrition between the two superpowers. It was fought mostly with the blood of faraway people considered expendable in poor countries like El Salvador and Panama, Vietnam and Cambodia. It's surely the cruelest irony of 1990 that as the Berlin Wall is torn down, the Western democracies have rebuilt its equivalent around a nation of people who threaten no one and with whom none of us have any quarrel. Indeed, the extraordinary efforts of the Cambodian people to recover from their nightmare of bombs and genocide ought to be the object of our lasting admiration. At the very least, the willingness of our representatives to help them, not hurt them. The Khmer Rouge must be stopped. They must be brought to trial at the International Court of Justice and expelled from the United Nations. All aid and comfort to Pol Pot and his allies, guns, mines, bombs, uniforms, training, food, and so-called diplomacy must stop. And their bases in Thailand closed down. And the wall built around Cambodia must be torn down, and aid to rebuild this country denied no more. Every day these steps are not taken, every day that governments appease and deceive, is a day lost for the people of Cambodia.